try that again. I think from now on, I'm just gonna hook up my laptop, bring my laptop in and just record it on there for the township page until we figure this out. And hopefully they get it figured out pretty soon.
It takes a lot.
I think it's because of the cement blocks. The blocks are so thick and the server and the internet stuff's over there. And so I think it just has a hard time reading between the blocks.
Need something up there to keep us
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. And actually, that's what they're working on doing, is that way they can put it on Zoom, so that people can actually see it on Zoom, and then like the public can, that's home, if they're not able to be here, they still have their comment time.
They need that.
Kinda like what they do, Milan Township does that, and it makes it really nice.
It works out really well too, because then like you can have people that can't be here that need to like do a
Right.
presentation and stuff, yeah.
Right, yeah, and we've got a lot of older residents and stuff that can't come, you know, especially, you know, after dark and winter weather and stuff. So I think that'll make it a lot easier.
I think Milan and Dundee both do that, don't they?
I don't know if Dundee is Zoom or not. I know Milan is. I'm not sure about Dundee though.
Quick second. I just write down over it when we talk about, you want the informal, right? Or-
Yeah, I got two of them, I got the 12/7 and the 24/7.
And you do have to open this back up again.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to, resume the meeting at 8:38.
Second. Who made the motion to close it?
I did.
Penny and me.
Okay.
Moved by Turner, seconded by Pinkowski, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, backing up to Milan Area Fire Department budget. We have two proposed budgets, one's for 12/7 coverage, which we currently have, correct?
Yes.
And the other one is for the 24/7 coverage, which would be, I think it would, if I remember, it was like $10,000 more to have the 24/7 coverage
Yeah.
than it is for 12/7. So looking at, let's see, operating revenues for London Township, our cost would be $143,917.95. The capital would be $18,096.29. So our total cost for 24/7 coverage is $162,014.24. Now, if we go keep what we got at 12/7, our total cost would be $142,853.63. And DJ, if you wanna give us a little background on the response time difference between the on-call and the staff?
So our average turnout time for our on-call hours is between 8 and 10 minutes. During our on-call time, just like a regular paid on-call department, our guys are coming from home, they're coming from, wherever they are, if they're out running errands in town. We do have our 2 people we pay our night stipend to guarantee that they are available and in town to respond, but they're not required to be at the station between 6 PM and 6 AM. So they're not necessarily as fast as having 2 people at the station. During our staffed hours, our turnout time is just under 3 minutes. And that includes, from the time the call first goes into the CAD system until our truck is out the door is 3 minutes or less. I know 7 minutes doesn't necessarily sound like it's a huge difference in the long run of things, but
It means a lot
I was
to
going to
life.
say, 7 minutes in a cardiac arrest or a structure fire can be the difference between getting out and putting a trash can or a sofa fire out versus being arrival on, a fully involved, a room that's well involved or beyond that. Especially newer homes, the rate that fire grows has only gotten faster, and more departments, even in areas with improved response times, are seeing more catastrophic losses as far as the structures go, and because of the fact that they're just frankly they're burning faster. And then with a cardiac arrest, at 7 minutes, again, that's huge. At 7 minutes that somebody's not receiving CPR, at 7 minutes that somebody's not receiving oxygen, and that can be the difference between life and death also.
And I also think, I don't know when our current millage is up, but I think if people knew that they have 24/7 coverage now, I think that would be a better sell point for our fire millages compared to the 12/7.
Cause we actually would like to get a second mill on our fire, as we used to have. Because we do pay for the 2 fire departments, and the 1 mill that we have barely pays for 1 fire department from those 2. So the second fire department, all of that money is coming out of the general fund.
I'm kind of confused a little, because I could swear last year, I thought you guys were supposed to bring
So
2.
there was discussion last year, we're trying to get the second 2 people on, but unfortunately we didn't get it past all 4 municipalities. So London Township did vote for the 2 additional people for the full 24/7, but unfortunately like I said, it didn't pass all 4 municipalities, so we maintained our 12-hour day coverage. And you guys' bill was adjusted accordingly for the lower rate.
How many have approved it so far this year?
At this point, we're still in the kind of a pre-approval process. This is our initial bill or budget proposal. It's going to the townships. It won't be voted on until our next board meeting, which is the
Next
19th,
Thursday.
yes, next Thursday.
So for us, to go from 12/7 to 24/7, it's 304,000, 300 and some change,
So
$305,000.
a large portion of that currently is an estimation on our insurance. When we added our weekend coverage, our insurance went up 20%. I don't have a final number from our insurance company back about what the rates would change for the 24/7, and that's for our workers' comp and all of those other.
When do you think you're gonna get that back?
I'm hoping to have it in the next day or 2. I expect to have it before the next meeting. I would rather give you guys a high number and tell you I came in under it than have to come back and say I underestimated the insurance and I need more money.
Actually, the difference of $19,160.
Well, if you take,
I took the 162,1424,
yep,
subtract the 142,853.63.
And what'd you get?
I come up with 19,160.61. So for 20,000 more, we could have 24/7 coverage. That's the total cost of everything. utilities, capital, and operating. And also, we don't get the, bills per run anymore either, for cost recovery.
Built into both of the budget proposals this year also includes it, increasing our medical licensure to the next level. That'll give us more on-scene care that we can provide. We'll be able to administer albuterol as an example for asthma patients. Getting those extra treatments in is becoming a bigger deal because ambulances have lower staffing and higher response rates. So the earlier that we can get some of those extra care in, the better.
See, this is where,
What were,
go ahead.
I'm so sorry, what were you saying? I had a brain fart myself.
I just said that the cost recovery,
Yeah.
we don't get billed per run anymore like we used to, so that was costing us a couple thousand a month.
Correct.
So we don't have that anymore,
When
so that
is our,
saves us $2,000.
when is our fire going?
I'm not sure, I think it goes to,
Hold please. Happen to have my folder here.
So I'm sure we're gonna end up in the same situation with the roads.
And see too, also, we were just talking beforehand, if the word on the street that York Township may pull out, then it's gonna add more to our fire bills as well.
At this point in time, York Township can't leave through the period of this budget that I'm
Yeah.
proposing right now.
Correct.
And it looks like they'll be through at a bare minimum the next budget also.
But
Then-
once we go forward, we can't come back, see what I'm saying? You
But
know,
this is a yearly budget.
Yeah,
It's
we
not-
can, but then
it's not
they're,
monthly.
yeah, they're
Exactly
gonna
where-
cut their guys back though.
so, I mean, I'm just looking out, because that'll be, if it ever does happen,
2028.
we're gonna be facing a lot more money coming out. I'm all for fire protection, but I'm also looking at what is our bills up?
2028.
Okay, after 2028, we have no mills, okay, and we could be, like we just said,
That's what I'm a little,
the same position, because, people,
yeah,
people are getting, assessed and, they're having a meeting right now of people getting, taxes and fighting, it's,
Yeah,
you can
we
put
don't
out
know.
people out of their home.
But there are things that we can do if that happens when the time comes, and we're
Well,
already in talks.
so my
about that.
my question to you would be, so York Township, it hasn't been finalized though, they're not.
No, that process, they haven't been finalized, they haven't committed to going entirely to Saline at this point. They understand that there are issues if they go entirely to Saline because of the fact that the majority of the population that we cover in their area is within a mile or two of our border. And they understand that's a reality of if they leave us and go entirely to Saline, that they're going to be increasing response times to citizens in those areas. And that's a factor that they are considering as they look at all of their
And my
plans.
next question would be, how will that affect, I know it's hard to judge right now, but the other three townships in the city of Milan, or the other two, in the city of Milan, like London Township, Milan, and the
So-
township.
York Township is currently covering, for this budget proposal, 29% of the budget.
Okay.
So that 29% would be,
We split three ways then,
based on the percentages, it would go out to the.
so it'd be split three ways. We would add to that as well. Now, the other thing too is, my question is we're paying this for fire bills, okay, and only a certain percent of our residents get Milan Fire Department. Because it's below Ostrander, right?
Yeah,
that's the only
this side of
residents get
Ostrander.
the tax millage too.
Say what?
Correct.
Milan Fire District are the only ones that pay this, tax mill, or fire millage.
Fire millage.
Dundee area, Elmar area does not pay this tax
Correct.
millage, it's
So
just
if
for
you-
Milan area fires.
Tuttle Hill splits London Township in half, okay?
So just the
if-
northern,
Just listen, if Tuttle Hill splits the township in half,
yep,
where's Tuttle Hill? There's Tuttle Hill. The far side
is that
is
right?
covered by LMR.
This side?
This side is covered by Milan.
Yes.
So everybody from this side and then to the edge of the township is
Correct.
Milan Area Fire Department. Those are the ones that pay for the millage.
Well, the millage, but I'm saying this budget, does all residents pay for this? Because you got
it's
So-
only affecting,
It's only affecting
Half the
Milan
township.
area fire department
So it's not,
residents.
it's not,
Elmar,
so what you're,
Milan
excuse
covers
me,
more area
is
in our township than
the
Elmar.
the fire mills that we have
Uh-huh.
covers both Elmar and Milan, okay? This is not a mill, this is the budget, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So, this budget right here, the Milan residents get this, okay? What I'm going with also as well is the fire mill goes for both municipality fire departments.
Correct.
But it doesn't pay for both, it only basically pays for one.
But
That's why
everybody in the township pays that tax millage for fire.
Yes.
Correct.
But this, and basically, both our budgets come out of our tax money, LMR and Milan. I mean, this amount of money, even though you live in, LMR's area, you're still gonna pay. Just like LMR, we have to pay LMR.
Correct.
So, I mean, all of the monies that in our budget is taxpayer money.
I understand.
So, I mean, they both pay, Milan Fire and LMR Fire are paid by our residents.
We also, as your millage comes up, we are beginning to, we're launching a better, like a public information campaign or drive. We wanna make sure that our residents understand what their fire protection, what they're actually paying for, the services they're getting. So as we get closer to millage times, that's information that'll be out there, and we'll be able to better inform the voters that, what services they are getting for when they pay for their millage.
are you gonna send those out as like a flyer then?
We're currently doing it through, we're starting on Facebook and Instagram. We are into the city's newsletter, and we're looking to start coming out to like the township
The
events, like the
townships
trash
themselves.
days and things like that, to be out there and more visible with the public, be able to answer more questions. And as we do get closer though to millage time, we'll be able to evaluate, sending out flyers and things like that to explain.
It's really, other than the trash day, I mean, as you can see, we don't get many residents here at the, you know.
Some people are listening though.
Yeah, I understand that too.
And I'm getting a quote for the Zoom, I should be getting that any day now, so hopefully we're gonna start Zooming. And
Mine
also, they're coming for.
My big thing is just foreseeing York pull out and we get really in a pickle here.
It kind of comes down to this, even if York were to leave in 2 years, if I can provide somebody 24/7 coverage for the next 2 years only, if that saves a house or a couple of lives in the middle, that difference, then it's,
I understand.
that's
I'm all
worth it in
for
the middle.
I'm all for fire protection.
And we have talked about it too, if York Township pulls out, we might develop our own fire authority.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying,
One
like,
thing
we have
talked about.
ideas and talks that
Yeah,
if York pulls out, then we do have an option.
we've got some backup plans for them. Which a fire authority means that it's out of the township hands. The fire department will go for millages and stuff to pay for. I mean, it's a process, you gotta have all 3 townships attorneys look at it. And that's, I think, a problem that York Township is having now is there's so many townships that are trying to do it. This attorney doesn't like this attorney doesn't like that. So, I mean, it's just been, I don't know, I don't really know if they're gonna go out or not.
Well, from what I understand, the only issue that York Township has is one road by a school. That is, they're taxed differently.
But in the budget, we need to lower.
Yeah, we just put that in.
Hey, Dawn, if you just push the temperature down on that gauge right there, it'll shut off.
That don't sound healthy.
So it's just one road by a school that is taxed differently, is the discrepancy.
And we've discussed with them about redrawing the lines to
Mhm.
address
What was
those.
that? I just wasn't paying attention.
I said, the only problem of York Township pulling out, or reason being is they're pulling out, is one road by a school that is taxed differently. And if that road was rerouted, then they wouldn't have a problem
If we,
staying.
essentially, if we redraw our lines to match the school millages that people pay,
Correct.
it removes a lot of their balloting issues that they would have otherwise. And that's something that both us and Saline Area Fire Department have mentioned to York Township that we're willing to do. To redraw those lines, that way it removes that issue. looks operationally is very similar, just updated numbers for inflation and a little bit of call growth. You'll see that numbers are laid out very differently this year. We switched our financial software to BSNA, so the line items are kind of mixed up and they've been rearranged. You'll note, as you'll see, there's some lines that weren't there last year that are there this year. Those aren't new funds, or new costs, they're just costs that were broke out into their own lines.
So, on the very first line, it says staffing salaries, it's like double, it looks like, is that correct, from, 2025?
So, for the 24/7 budget, or, proposal, yes, it would be. Because that is, the staffing salary goes from 186,900 last year to 206,000, this year, and that would be for the extra 24-hour day, or 12-hour day, 7-day week coverage.
So that's what the difference was right there.
Yeah.
The,
And also, they went with DSNA too, so some of these line items look higher than what they did last year because of how they changed. So that is broke out better. Before, it was just kind of everything bunched together, we actually broke everything out when we went to DSNA. So that's why some line items look like they're, a lot more than what they were last year, because last year they were just kind of clumped. Like you'll see the paid on call was 110,000, now it's only 52, we moved all that around so that it's broke out better.
Yeah, the 24/7 staffing budget also assumes a decrease in the paid on-call response, because we have the on-staff, or on-call staffing would handle a lot of those medicals that paid on-call wouldn't be coming in for anymore.
so it says officer salaries, $6,000, like for captain, it's $6,059.87. That's their, that's all
That
he
is-
gets,
that is an
that's all
annual.
he gets paid a year?
That is an annual stipend that gets added to their wages, that's intended to cover off-call hours and days.
And then all call hourly,
So those would be their hourly rates when they respond to a fire call.
okay.
And then the on-duty, pay rates are for the staffing.
Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but my own fighters joined a union, and we had our first union negotiations, last Thursday.
Yes.
And if we went to this 24/7, they're willing to, keep wages as is, right? If I remember right, they're not gonna request any raises or anything.
So what's a 1-year contract, yearly contract?
So why haven't we approved this and you guys, switch to the union then?
I don't
How that
currently.
affect-
That's what
And then when we
It's
change
right
it,
now.
that falls
It's
under-
not shut out, it's 60.
Would have to fall inside this budget either way.
Yeah, that, or even if there was a change above and beyond it, it would have to come back to the township boards to be approved.
Yes, with the union negotiations, we discussed that, because we're trying to shoot for a 3-year contract, and if we went to the 24/7, that was one of the bargaining things, is they would keep the wages as is. Yes,
If we just add the night shifts, do you go night shift?
right. So there wouldn't be any raises for them, where if we don't go to the,
So would those people be,
24/7.
would they be getting overtime for most of that, or would they be separate firefighters just working, normal salary?
They wouldn't, we don't schedule overtime, and there's also an overtime exemption that we're evaluating of whether or not we can put in place. As a fire department, working shifts, we can extend out our number of hours before they qualify for overtime. It's based off of, the number of hours in a pay period.
How would that, so what we're sitting right now, I mean, you just have enough staff for 12/7. If you go to 24/7, obviously somebody's gonna have to be getting paid overtime, because, well, you're gonna be hiring a lot more firefighters.
No, you're wrong there, because the 12/7 and the 24/7 is just you would have 7 more shifts. What had happened is, when we have this, like this 12/7, we don't have right now what they call on-call, so if they turn on a fire, everybody shows up, gets paid. Well, right now, when the staff, if it's a medical, they don't show up. So we don't have to pay all these people to come in, because we're already staffed with 2 people, they respond from the station. Now, if it's a major event like a fire, or, then yes, they will call.
Yeah.
But the firefighters know that if it's a medical during this on-call staffing, they don't respond.
Right.
Because before we were paying, I mean, you might have 15 guys show up,
Mhm.
you might only have 6 go out, you still gotta pay those 15 guys.
Mhm.
So that's why this on-call stuff has cut it some, because you've got 2 people on, so you don't have the total call-out.
One of the other things with going to the 24/7 is we have a lot of people that work day schedules. They're not available to work our regular rotation. And when we add a night shift, that I know that a number of them have expressed interest in that they'll be able to work a night shift. So we'll have a different group of people available to add on for those calls. If we do need to add more people, we will add more part-time positions. We have 8 more sets of turnout gear under a federal grant that we can get. The cost of the department, about 200, ends up being like $250 or $300 a set. So if we do have to bring more people in, we've got the federal grant money to cover for that, the biggest cost of bringing on more on-call personnel.
See, another thing that comes to mind is if you have, they're running, because that'll be a 12-hour shift, right? They have
Yes.
other obligations during the day, and they work, say, an 8-hour day.
Yeah.
It's an hour drive, that's 10 hours, when they can sleep.
But you don't have to do 12-hour shifts, I mean, you can break it up, like right now, I think you guys only do 6 hours, right?
So our base schedule is 12. If we have guys that can only work partial shifts, we do have times where you'll have somebody who works the first 6 hours, and somebody else works the second 6 hours. And that's something that we would continue on with our 24-hour staffing. Gets us the availability, it gets scheduling out there to more people, and it helps cut down on potential overtime or excess costs.
I know you mentioned it about the insurance. What was the reason for it going up 140%?
So, it went up already from last year, that's factored into that budget. It went up over $20,000. We got that bill like July 3rd or 4th after we entered the budget cycle. They did our insurance review, and it said that essentially we worked more hours than our overtime our insurance is already set up to cover for. So, based on the fact that essentially we're doubling our worked hours by doubling our shift, I started with an expectation of double, and when I get the number back from them, that's where it'll be. So of that 140%, I believe 40% of that already was our cost that we added last year that I needed to correct in the budget this year.
So your insurance, is that your workman's comp
It is our-
insurance,
yeah,
or is that your
workman's
liability
comp.
insurance?
It's they're both come through the same company.
But the liability
The li-
insurance shouldn't double.
The liability insurance didn't double. The workers'
comp's
comp.
only gonna go up, with their amount of hours worked or.
And that did go up. I believe it was, we essentially increased 20% of our hours from the last time that they had.
So,
Is it-
go ahead.
I mean, cause this seems like that if we double both those,
Sorry.
I mean, even if you're at 120,000, even if you just doubled it, well, this says 140, so, and really the only thing that would be increasing, because the bond should stay the same, the insurance should stay the same, only the workman's comp would be the only difference, correct?
Which is why, like I said, I know that number is going to come down. I don't have the final numbers back from our insurance company.
So when is the next fire board meeting?
The 19th.
Next
I hope to
Thursday.
have those numbers by then.
So we're not
We're not
approving
gonna-
this right now, then?
we're not gonna
This is
approve
just
it.
a rough number, is it right now?
It's,
Or are you trying to get it?
it'll be that or under.
Well, I wanna see true numbers, so before I make a vote on it. Like I said, I'm all for fire
Then,
protection,
My
but
next question, I guess,
I would like to see true numbers before we make a vote on it.
the conference
The
and
only
training,
number that's gonna change is the insurance and bond.
That's-
Yes.
that should change dramatically. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, I went through business, so I kinda
I
understand
do
that
expect
a
that's
little
going to come down, it's significant.
Yeah.
And then the conference and training, that went up 100%. What would be the difference there? roughly?
Some of that is rearranging the way some of our numbers were coming out originally, and the cost for, with us increasing our medical licensure, we have to add a class 3 hospital treatment and life support. So that includes adding the cost of that class. The state of Michigan has increased a lot the firefighter training requirements as
I
far
was
as
just gonna
continuing
say.
education requirements, EMS timing requirements, and those numbers are starting to reflect heavier in our budget. If, firefighter 1, 2, and hazmat alone, the mineral program is 400 hours. EMT is up to, I believe it's 300 hours now. So that's 700 hours of training just to meet the baseline floor for a working firefighter.
And they did that to you from like in September, and you guys had to have that done by January, right?
That was the reporting system that we had to change over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the training we've had more of a heads up on, and that's something that's been building into our budget.
And then, the last thing, which I think I'm guessing I know what this one is, the membership subscriptions.
Those are, costs like our reporting software they use reporting the federal government, that is, $6,000 by itself. If you,
What are you
flip
using?
further into the packet, I have all of those line numbers broke down,
What were you using previous to that, because it don't show it in 25, 26?
and that is where, that's,
It's when we went to BSNA, we separated it into different line items,
Yeah.
so it just got taken out of the
Out of
number
line, out of
through.
line, added
Yeah.
to it.
We didn't have
Yes.
BSNA until this past year.
Yeah, that's what I thought, you guys were gonna say with that new system.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that's my entire budget calculating sheet essentially in there. I've got no numbers to hide on any of that, so I wanted to know.
I've been looking at this, I don't know if anybody has mentioned it in this, but from, fiscal year 25 to 26, and then 26 to 27, on the 2024/7 one, it's
Mhm.
186,900, and then this next one is 6,056, or 567, 66.
What are
That's
you looking at,
190.
Mike?
We're
That's a very
understaffing.
top.
Very top.
They're already asking about it.
That line that goes from 186,000 to 306,000.
Yeah,
There was other costs that were in that $186,000 originally. That real number is closer to 150. So, or under the new organization of our budget layout. The reason that doubles to go to the 24/7 is because we're doubling those staffing hours that are paid out of that line. So that line,
86.
150 some $1,000 roughly is what the cost of our 12-hour day, 7-day a week scheduling is.
Well, why you got 186?
And under the old budget, some of the holiday costs and all that we broke out into new lines were factored into that line. So like you'll see, if you look down a couple lines under that, there's like the holiday payroll line, for example, is one that doesn't show anything, along with the overtime line. Those are costs that used to be figured into that $186,000 line, along with some training numbers or costs that were in there also. Those have been broken out to different lines. Under our old, when we were using QuickBooks, we didn't have as many lines to catch that.
It looks confusing, but I think if you look down at the very bottom where it says wages and salaries subtotal, that's where I kinda start realizing it's not as far off as where it appears.
Where?
Mhm.
On that same paragraph, if you.
Oh, wages and salary? Yeah.
It's a total increase in wages and
When I
salaries.
first looked
Oh,
up
I
there,
see.
it threw me way off.
Yeah,
too,
cause
when I started
I'm looking at
down.
64%.
Yeah,
But it's
that's what I
only
said.
12%.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, anything that you look at that says fiscal year 25-26 was QuickBooks. The new one for 26-27 is the BSNA, and that's all the completely separate line items, everything taken out of, put in their own line item. So.
Yeah, so you're only talking like a 12%
Correct,
increase for the 24/7.
correct.
Cause if we keep it at the,
I don't think that this other one's gonna be very accurate either, that's 475,708.43, because that insurance, I think is like.
I think it's gonna come in lower.
I know it is significantly above what it should be.
Yeah.
But we asked him to go high.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I mean, that's.
Because I don't know what it's gonna be, I know it's not gonna be that much, but I'd rather have it high and
So-
then come in lower,
Yep.
than
But we're-
come in lower and they have to be higher.
This is, we're not like completely approving it as of right now though, right? We're just kind of,
Well,
or you need us to approve it for you guys?
yes, at our steering committee, we, said we would take it back to our boards.
I would like
See, the only thing that I don't like about that, it would be like us approving our rough draft of
Correct.
ours.
I wanna see final
That's the
numbers
only-
for your
I mean,
guys'
I don't have an
budget
issue with it,
before I
but-
approve anything. I have to see final numbers before I approve anything.
See, the only final number you're gonna have is the insurance.
It's
and
the
bonds.
insurance number, all
That's
the rest
fine.
of them
I
should
want
be the
all
same.
final numbers, cause
probably be lower than $144,000.
But I wanna see that.
Anybody else have any concerns? No? Okay, so the $144,000 most likely is gonna come in lower than that.
Mhm.
Our steering committee wanted the chief to give us the top that he thought it could be. But I know it's gonna be less than that, but we didn't have the final number. And we didn't wanna hold up this whole budget cycle just for that. So I will make a motion. Like I said, I think it's gonna help us with our millage if we went to the 24/7 because of the response times is going to be compared to, what is it, 3 minutes compared to 8 or 9
Yeah,
minutes?
it saves 5 to 7 minutes in.
So I'll make a motion to approve the 24/7 coverage at a cost to London Township with capital revenues included in that, operating revenues at a cost of $162,014.24.
Where'd you say that number at, $162,000?
It's the very bottom number, the total cost, on the first page, Joe,
Okay.
which will most likely
Here.
be less than
The ones
that,
that
once we get the
forty.
insurance number.
Where is it?
Right.
Okay.
Very first page, Mother Township,
yeah.
Very bottom, that includes the capital and the operating, and it's probably gonna be a little less than that after we get the final insurance number. So I have a second,
I'll
motion.
I'll second.
I think motion.
Oh, you already did?
Yeah.
I just got a serious question for all board members, how can you approve something without seeing final numbers?
Cause I know the final number's gonna be less than this $144,000.
Me too.
That's what I'm saying, I can't approve something that I don't have final numbers on.
That's the only number that's in dispute, is the
I
$144,000.
understand.
Okay. I know your roll call then.
Trustee
Bigowski?
No?
Okay. Supervisor Turner?
Yes.
Clerk Drop, yes. Treasurer Bochamp?
Yes.
Trustee Howard?
I just have a question before I
Okay.
move forward. So if it comes in less,
Then we'll bring it back and approve, the final
Yeah,
number.
so the final number, and it will be less than
so we will
162.
reapprove it?
So this is approving the proposed, this is the proposed. The final budget, once we get the final number, I'll bring back and we'll get it.
I'll say yes, I just wanna make sure.
Okay, move back to our second motion.
So
Okay,
no matter what, it's gonna be less than this 162,014.
Yeah, no, I got that part, I just want, so that, like, if we go over that, they can't just use it forever they want
Right.
kind of thing, that we come back, we give a final number, I'm fine with that. I just don't wanna approve a high number, and then they can just use it however they
we're
please, I
approving a
guess.
preliminary
You know,
budget.
That's fine, I'm
Right.
fine with that.
The final number, once we get that, which we'll probably have Thursday,
I expect to have that before the budget meeting, or before the.
and then I'll bring it back next month with the final number for final approval.
Yeah, this is just the
Preliminary
The-
approval.
So you said no, Mike?
Yeah.
proposed.
I mean, I'm fine with it as long as we come back and make sure it's a real final.
I thought that was a total, like, we were approving.
That's
this.
what I wanna
That's what
make
I
sure.
thought too.
I-
But I'll
Wanna
stay with
change
my,
her?
it's fine, I mean.
This is a
it was
preliminary
much more-
budget.
but
It's
I
just
think we-
preliminary
Yeah,
budget.
But that's what I'm just saying, it's hard for me to approve something when I don't have two numbers, but if it's coming back from the board, I am okay with it, but it didn't pass it, so it's fine.
All right, thanks for coming, DJ.
Thank you for looking at your question.
Thanks for answering the questions.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thanks, BJ.
Watch yourself. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Number 3, supervisor, ZBA Building Board of Appeals appointment.
Oh, I will.
I had a gentleman come in, actually I had 2 gentlemen come in, I'm waiting on a response back from the other one, but I wanna appoint a alternate. I think we have 3 members now, or just one of our members, but we don't have an alternate since Carl passed away. So I wanna appoint Jacob Stulo as a, ZBA alternate. Jacobs Stu, am I saying it right,
Stuo,
Stuo,
or whatever, yeah, I'm not sure, I can.
to the ZBA Board of Appeals as an alternate. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Turner, second by Straw, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay. Spring cleanup dates. I'm looking at June, our spring cleanup is, end of May is our park, so. End of May is our park, so I was looking like toward end of June, mid-July.
We call it something, you know?
Yeah. I think we should only do one a year, because really the fall one just isn't,
No, I agree.
It's
with
not
that,
worth-
and it's
just not enough people. And I think if we did it like June-ish, July, it'd
One
give
thing I
people
do,
time to,
I've noticed, so, more people seem to wanna clean up in the spring, like earlier in the year than when it's hot out, you know, that's my only thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't care,
Yeah, we start getting in July, it's,
Yeah, it's gonna be hot.
even June can be hot.
so how about June sixth? But that's the following weekend after our park, I don't know if everybody wants to
when you
try
do
out
it
two
before,
weekends.
can you do it before, or will it be too big?
Do it before you mean, well, the weekend before is Memorial Weekend, so we don't wanna do that.
We still all got, you know, almost,
So you can do it before that, or?
yeah, in April, we usually do it in April area.
Just do it anytime.
We done it in April before.
Yes.
It doesn't give us much time for estimates though. Cause I have to get the truck lined up for the tires. I usually try to do 2 tentative dates, that way I can give it to the tire people.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you did it anytime in April, you could get estimates, and then, we'd have it by the April meeting, and then be like, I mean, that's all up to you guys, I don't really care, I guess either
Why
way.
can't we do it at the beginning of May?
That would work better for me, that gives me time to, get the estimate, get the bids and then.
Just because you had the park one, I don't think that's really gonna affect it too much, might
No.
actually, might have two things going, you know, kill two birds with one stone on it too, I don't know, it's
How
up to
about,
you.
how about May 16th? Does that work for everybody?
Not me.
Not you?
Answer silent.
I don't wanna do it the 23rd, cause that's Memorial Weekend.
What about the ninth?
Ninth.
That's Mother's Day weekend, I don't know, a lot of people might be.
What about the second?
Alright, let's shoot, we can shoot for May 2nd, I can't guarantee that I can get the trailers for the tires that quickly, but,
Alright, what's the second date?
I guess we could always, I mean,
so that'll be our first pick. What's the second
you
pick
know,
in
what else
case?
you can do, I mean, if you can get, yeah, plus we're gonna be having a lot of, we're gonna have another 1 or 2 budget meetings, right, that we might be able to throw it in on that, just to,
I don't
the
have it in
date?
our budget.
you can't even do it, just to move a date, you can add it to the agenda.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying if this doesn't work that day, where you can, I mean, we're gonna be coming in when,
Yeah,
like,
we got another budget workshop,
Yeah.
plus we have.
I'm just saying, we
I
can
think
change
we
the
can
date
put-
on those,
we
if
can
you
put
can add
all-
it to the agenda, you know, on the.
Yeah, I mean, we have another meeting too, April 13th, so. Let's shoot for May 2nd, if that doesn't work, then we'll change it,
At the April meeting.
in April meeting.
That starts at 9, right?
Yes,
I don't know, just
the
like-
cleanup is 9 to 3. So tentatively, May 2nd from 9 to 3 is our spring. Give me a second date, just in case, that we don't have to, you wanna shoot for the 9th, the following weekend, even though it's Mother's Day weekend?
Yeah, because that's sort of what I'm saying, yeah, we can get it the second to you.
accept May 2nd and May 9th as our spring cleanup date.
Second.
Moved by Bochamp, second by Pinkowski, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Spring, or cemetery cleanup, that you done?
Yep, that's me. It's tentative, like, we need to, with, Easter coming up quick, I wanna do the spring cleanup for the cemetery to remove any, winter stuff, like the weekend following March 25th. If we can get a dumpster in there, like about the 26th, cause Wednesday, the 25th is Wednesday. And I was thinking if we can get a dumpster in there, like the
Is there a lot of winter
26th,
stuff there now?
there's quite a bit.
Was that dumpster last year big enough?
Yes.
I think I donated that one, right?
Yeah, you donated one last year, and that was big enough. I don't know if it, if there's quite as many grave blankets as there was last year, so, but that one was definitely big enough.
Okay.
So you're gonna be doing the weekend of the 27th then?
Yep. I would,
27th.
yep, I would start like the 26th and finish it up by the end of the weekend.
26th then?
Yeah.
You say
March.
When would you need the dumpster?
I'd need the dumpster brought in like March 26th, which is a Thursday. That would be between Thursday evening and probably chances are,
Can you
for,
call
like,
me again like we did last time?
okay,
So you're donating it again?
Yeah.
Don't donate it.
okay, all right,
Same spot?
same spot. Yep,
So if they have anything that they wanna say, they need to get it off prior
They
to
need to-
March 26th.
yep,
Alright, I'll make a motion to approve the cemetery cleanup from March 26th to the 29th. So if you have anything that you want to say, please make sure it's off.
That was in March, right?
yep.
Second?
Moved by Turner, seconded by Bochamp, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Electronic door repair, apparently we need some doors fixed.
This one back here just needed a small adjustment, so he fixed it when he was here and didn't charge us. This one up front needs a whole new striker. We thought it was the mechanism at the top, the box thingy at the top, but, Brad switched it from this one to that one and it still didn't work. So it's actually the striker that is not working properly and that needs to be special ordered. And the other door is, Cleo's door, and, yeah, that's a mess. It says they considered it a back door, but it's actually her door.
So it's the front door and just to her
Yeah.
side.
Are those the handicap doors?
Yeah.
So the total for both of them are the 950, or is it total, and then total?
Total and then total.
There's not an actual final total on. Okay.
That's kinda weird.
So 685 and
So that is
950.
two different prices though, right? That one and then that one's not added to give you that total, right?
Correct. So 1635, the total.
Did he say when he would be able to get it fixed?
They already have, our striker is already been, ordered, cause it's special ordered, they were just waiting for our meeting to approve that.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the electronic door repair at a cost of $1,635.
Second.
Moved by Turner, seconded by Pinkowski, can we do a roll call please?
Supervisor Turner?
Yes.
Clerk Strad? Yes, sorry. Treasurer Bochamp?
Yes.
Trustee Ballard?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Last is a legal counsel resolution. This is replacing the other one that we had. The only thing changing in this one is that, the law firm will only be contacted during business hours. She called me saying that she was getting calls on her cell phone after hours. So she wanted to make sure that I clarified that, so, the only thing changes is you will contact the attorney during regular business hours and for township business only. I think that was it, so this will be.
Is there a reason why it changed like that? Was it
Yeah, apparently cell phone calls after hours,
from the board members?
yeah, she She didn't tell me who, but yeah. Okay, so that would be 03-09-2026-2.
Would be O two or two?
Two. Oh, that one was one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It's
but we did
01.
O1. We did O1.
Okay, O two.
O two. O two.
So if you call after hours, you may be responsible for the cost.
Second?
What's the hours?
9 to 5,
95.
regular business hours. So moved by Turner, seconded by
I wonder if we
Pinkhouse.
should put that in there.
I did,
Where do you see that in?
oh, I did put the I just said business hours.
Yeah, I was saying just so that there's no, cause I mean, somebody tries to like pull a fast one and be like, oh, I thought you worked till 5.
Probably
or, you know, or 6 or
the
something.
firm's business hours.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with it, I just making
Yeah,
sure there's
I would
no.
go with the firm's business hours.
Do you want me to add that?
That'd
Do you
be-
want me to bring it back, or can I just
I
add
would
it?
just add
I
it.
would just add it.
During
Only
regular
the planning
firm
commission
business
can do
hours?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
What?
I said only the planning commission can't do that. I'm just joking.
Okay, I'll make the correction and I'll give it to you when you decide, you can sign it with the corrected copy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So was it on the motion by you, Penny?
Yes.
And that's who seconded?
Second, Pinkowski. Second citizens time. Anybody?
I would like to support the idea before the board to increase Mike's hours. He has got such a big case to follow up with all of the blight, and I've got 3 other situations I need to follow up, and they all don't back into his lap. I need to check on the dangerous dog ordinance to see if we have one. Another neighbor asked me to check on screening to block unsightly stuff. I know there's an ordinance for that. I think that dumps back on him as well. And dangerous buildings, because there are, kids on bicycles investigating some of the abandoned houses and such.
What was that question? What was that one again?
The
Dangerous
dangerous
buildings.
buildings blight, again, back in his lap, and
I
he's got
think dangerous building is building.
Okay, maybe I'm mistaken here, but, blight, dangerous building, and they interconnect there somehow. But it just, a lot of this falls right back at him, and I just feel like he's so overwhelmed, it's such a big job, it always has been. And he did say that he could use more hours, he was willing to do that.
I know he's got another job, so he's been working Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays.
He has 3 other jobs.
Yeah, so I know he wasn't here last Tuesday, I don't know why.
But he was at the planning commission meeting, and he did say that he was willing to do that, increase hours here.
So I could swear about 2 meetings ago or 3 meetings ago, we hired somebody to help assist him. I remember for a
We had
fact.
talked about it, but we never did. I had talked about splitting them.
I thought we even approved the person. You remember Mike?
No,
Who was it?
we-
Yeah, there was even
That's,
his name.
that's just the
PC
PC
Planning
secretary.
Commission
This
secretary.
is the secretary.
But I
That
remember,
helps him
I
do the
understand.
minutes, so he doesn't have to do them.
oh, it was just for the minutes.
Just for the
And
minutes.
to be a secretary.
She's the secretary.
But that was just for
Secretary,
planning.
wait, so it's a secretary just to do the minutes, or I'll have to look
Yeah,
all of that.
I mean.
It was actually last year.
See,
I
my,
feel it was, I late.
But I remember clear as day that we hired somebody to assist him. That's all I
well,
remember.
she does
And
the
I know that it was
minutes.
part of the minutes, but I thought that it
And
was to
she
do
keeps
some
the
other jobs.
ordinances and, like when they change an ordinance, she'll make a final draft copy, she does all that. So that's taking some burden off of him. Yeah, she'll be doing all the ordinances updates.
So,
But I had talked about dividing the
Okay.
job, the zoning as one job and code enforcement as another. I don't know how much code enforcement we would have.
how much more time does Mike have? I mean, I asked him to come in. I don't know if you have.
And I'm gonna be frankly honest. Mike was working anywhere from 120 to 130 hours a month. I cut him down to 20 because I couldn't
You mean
see
a
where,
week?
Maybe 20 a
where,
week,
Okay.
20 a week, right?
I couldn't see where he was doing anything.
And I'm gonna be honest, from 130 to 20, I don't see any difference.
That's
When
what
he's-
hours a week.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
20 hours a week. I'm talking 130 hours a month
to 100, well,
To
to
80.
80.
to
Okay.
80.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't see any difference in what he does job-wise. I approve his timesheets, I look at them.
So-
Most of the time he was sitting here, I mean, can't see paying him to sit here. And I get where you're coming from, Pam, I know he has a lot on his plate, but he needs to get more organized. I honestly, that's my opinion.
Can somebody help him with that?
So.
I can try,
so-
but I mean, and I'm gonna say this too, he's supposed to be here Monday, Tuesday, and Fridays. He hasn't been here, and I can't tell you when on Friday,
So
Because
that's an hourly rate.
because he's got another, he's got
took the
like
job
3 other
at-
jobs.
he took the job as the zoning guy at Exeter.
So,
He's
so
not
when he
here on
does come in, does he
Fridays.
work more hours on the days that he is here, or?
Yeah, he works,
Mondays, he's usually here
Mondays
late.
he's here at 8, and then he's here late, like, way past 6
Sometimes I
o'clock.
come in at 5 and he's still here.
Yeah,
Tuesdays, I don't know what he's been working, but I know last Tuesday he wasn't here.
that's because of the assessors, he had to get, it was, they
So,
were doing their statistics thing or whatever that they had to do.
so another question, I
And he
mean,
wasn't here today.
does
because
he get
wasn't
paid
here.
hourly, or does,
Yes.
Yes.
or does he just get a
Since
set
this
amount?
is
He gets
citizen
paid
time, should
hourly.
we put it on like the agenda to talk about?
We
So
can,
Versus citizen
Yes,
time?
please.
Just by curiosity, how many hours does he, how many hours?
Can we do that?
You should be able to
Can we
answer that, right?
Yeah.
How many hours a week for like the last, I don't know, just maybe the last month, just, I don't get, I mean, I'm not gonna,
Well, like last month, actually, we did have an issue with, paychecks, they took us off the time and attendance, so they didn't record how much hours people worked and cut us off like in the
well, I
middle.
mean, just,
Like,
I
because
guess,
you
I
put
guess
in,
you guys
you
have
put in
a,
four,
Not
you
trying to
put in
cut,
four,
not trying
hold
to
on,
cut anybody.
hold on, you put in, let me answer the question. You put in, 42.5 hours last month,
last month. So it don't do us any good to give him more time if he's not even hitting the minimum of 80.
So you need to have a meeting with him, and it was my understanding that he accepted other jobs because he did not have enough here to support what he needed to sustain his life, basically. So he
Well,
reached out for other jobs, so maybe you have a conference with him and see what's up. Because we need to cover our township business, and there's a lot that needs to be addressed.
So I mean,
Yeah, or
I was,
somebody else.
before this meeting, I was actually kinda, after the planning commission meeting, kinda, wanting to push for approving him more hours, but if he's only working 40, but even if we were to give him 100, if you're not hitting the max right now, that's really not gonna help us. So I don't really know what to do about that situation.
I can
other
put it
than-
on the agenda for next month.
Can
Yeah,
somebody else
That way
help?
it's all recorded and everything.
I wish that he could be
This is
here,
citizen
and
time.
I specifically asked him to, but he couldn't, but,
I'll put it on the
Even-
agenda for next month and we can discuss it, decide,
Yeah.
you know, think about it.
one thing, even if he can't be here, if you guys, one of you guys could talk to him and at least see if we can call him.
Call him and,
Yeah.
put him on the speaker so he can answer
And
questions.
if he can't do it, somebody else needs to, because it needs to be
Unless you
taken
wanna
care
call
of.
him right now, I don't care, you
He's
know.
in,
Well, this
he's
is
doing
citizen
his
time.
board
No,
review.
he's
Oh,
got,
okay.
he's
Is
an,
that-
I don't know about this late, but we might got me.
he's an assessor at Exeter, and they had board of review tonight also,
Oh,
so
okay.
he had to do that.
I'll put it on the agenda and tell him, you know, if he wants to come in and plead his case, he can do that.
Yeah, thank you.
And if not, we'll try to,
And to answer your question, I am almost positive we do not have a dangerous dog ordinance, it all goes through animal control.
Animal control told me to ask you. Sorry, I've got a very intense situation, but they literally told me to check with my township.
I don't think we do either, I've never seen one.
I was shocked at what she told
Mike
me.
should know
but yeah.
that.
Anybody else, anything else, Pam?
Yeah, I still have not received my mailed property tax bill. I know it's not required, I guess, is how that kind of shook out over the internet discussions. I still have not received a copy. I just thought to reach out and got it emailed, I printed it and mailed it in, but some people don't have the capacity to do that, so I'm hoping nobody got stuck with late fees.
Anything else?
Karen share, Anita, I think that was you. Did you get any feedback on using the carts?
The cards, no, I was,
For whatever you had doing, I
the
just saw.
front
it
door,
in
I
the minutes.
completely forgot to ask Cleo, but I was, because I write my notes on my file folder, and that was one that I have circled, I just seen it, last week, and I was gonna, and Cleo was not here this
My
week.
friend helps with Karen share, she got excited when I told her it was in the thing, so she said, hey, great idea, that would help so much. I did post some pictures on the board there of the parks meeting and some of the kids' drawings and such. And I wondered if we could, being the farming community that we are, we've got all the wonderful playground equipment, I wonder if we could use some tractor tires, some good old fashioned tire slings. Or bury the tires in the ground, how we used to growing up, you know, the various sizes you climbed, you went through and such. Chief, you might get some donations.
might
can
have to
find out.
check insurance companies, or our insurance, because, cause we do, for insurance, I would look through the insurance company, because
Can
it's
you
a
guys check
phone.
with that?
I'm just making a statement, you know,
Okay. I wouldn't know where to start.
cause they, I mean, like that equipment, it's all, you know, safety approved and everything, all that.
And I just let you know.
I-
Farm?
I get it, we've all played on tires, but
Yeah. Okay,
That's
that's
all.
all.
We live in-
That was back in the day, today is a totally
I
different
know in
story.
the world that we live in this day, it's a lot different.
They want
But it would
char-
be cool, but anyways, if you can check into it, that's all I have.
they want charging
Okay,
stations
you got
for
anything?
their phones.
You need to check with the health department if you're gonna bury tires.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even if it's halfway.
Tires are a no.
Not, I can make a whole fence.
Mike, you got anything?
You'd have.
Yeah, I
you
just
could
wanna
make a
wish
whole
everybody
fence.
happy Easter.
Yeah.
Gotcha, Melissa.
We're gonna have, we have a meeting before Easter?
Yeah, big stuff.
We're gonna have another meeting before Easter.
The fifth, Sunday. Happy Easter, everyone.
Oh, okay.
Okay, can I go next?
Sure, go ahead.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Got you, Mike.
Is that it?
I don't
Yeah,
have
he's gonna
much,
get
I mean,
it.
the only thing that I'm kinda curious about, I think that, I mean, I'd like to talk to Mike, but if he don't, I feel like we're giving up a 40 hours worth of time, at least 40, maybe 60, I think that, you know, that we could, maybe be trying to find somebody that can maybe do maybe some of the code enforcement. I mean, I know he does really, I mean, it seems like he does pretty decent, you know, when he's here, I guess, but with the, especially with the ZA, but I think if we had a code enforcer, you know, like maybe if they split the hours in half, especially if he already has a job where he's already, you know, able to do it, he may not have an issue with it. He may want that because, you know, it's less, less work on him. They can split it, you know, and I think that might work better for the township.
So I need to figure out exactly what the difference is between zoning and code enforcement. Zoning I know is for.
One's enforcing it, and then
Well,
one's just
well-
approving like, you know, like a site
Special
plan or
uses
like.
And doing all the legwork for like meetings and ordinances and, you know, legal cases and all that.
So code enforcement would be like the blight.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
and the lawsuits, you know, a lot more
And,
with
you
the
know,
lawsuits.
enforcing our ordinances.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know actually about separating it, and this is just my opinion, because I am here when Mike is here, and him and the attorney have a really good thing going now, where they, you know, he knows what to ask from her, and she knows what to ask from him, and, you know, they have a good thing,
I
so
don't
maybe if we can just
I mean, I don't-
get a second person.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say to completely take it away from him, I just mean, somebody that could just go out in the field and like, you know, do some of the legwork that would save him the time of,
Yeah.
Like an extra person to help him.
yeah, go there and try to
Yeah.
get the people to comply, you know, because I mean, if he doesn't have enough time, then, you know, it's kind of tough, you know. And it's hard also just to talk to Bondi, like, oh yeah, you know, we just need to get this, but you need to almost be there to talk to these
Go
people.
to the,
And, you know, trying to work with them, because I know a lot of people, if you work with them, I think that they would rather work with you too, but if you don't, you know, if you just go there and start threatening them and stuff like that, that sometimes it's like a kid, you know, they go the other direction, the harder you push them, but if you try to work with them, then,
Well, but that's the thing, I mean, that's the thing that he's got going with the attorney, they send out 3 letters, or he sends out 3 letters. If he doesn't hear anything, then he goes to the attorney, and then they get a letter from the attorney,
I
and they
still
still
don't
don't
think
hear
that's the
anything.
smartest way though. I personally believe if you go knock on the door and you talk to somebody in person, you just send a lawyer's letter. It's happened to me more often than it should. It's not fun. You're already off on the bad foot. But if
Yeah.
somebody would come and talk to me or whatever,
Mhm.
you know, we could work things out a lot more that way, I feel like.
I guess
Then you're
the
coming
I think it
from-
would go,
Checklist,
I
though,
would, I
that's-
think it would go more
that's the standard.
streamlined too.
I think the next, I mean, when he comes, he can bring, a copy of all 3 letters that he sends.
Yeah, but I don't think
Just
that's
show.
always good just to send a letter. I think that person probably feels like they probably should have the respect of talking to somebody in person to try to correct the problem before they ever even got a letter. And then if they didn't, then start firing letters,
Yeah.
because they're not gonna, you know, I think that somebody should talk to them in person.
That is a standard procedure, from my knowledge. I was told there's a check sheet, and before you get the letter, this happens, so I'd like to see that checklist. And there's
There is,
multiple
and-
files with checks missing because nobody can do
I
it.
just think that if like somebody was to help him, that it might make his job a lot easier, to tell you the truth, because that person that is assisting him might be able to correct a lot of the issues so that he don't have to go through quite as much with bonding, quite as much, letters and stuff like that.
See,
That's just how I feel.
And I'm gonna bring up one time that I was involved in, we got a complaint about, something over on, it was Torrey and Rosendale Road there, it was in our township. And he was just gonna automatically send a letter.
Yeah.
I said, Mike, why don't you go out there and look to see what it is? So, the letter he was gonna send was to the wrong property owner.
Oh, no.
So, he didn't even go out and look until I told him, you need to go out and look and verify, don't just go by somebody coming in
Hearsay.
complaining and send a letter.
Yeah.
You need to go out and look.
Okay,
So, I mean, I've been stressing that to him quite a bit. So that was one time he would've sent a letter to a homeowner that would've probably not been happy, cause it
Yeah.
wasn't even involving him.
I deal with a lot of those.
They came into our board meetings for all that before, those people on Torrey Road.
And actually, I think if I remember right, it was actually in Augusta Township, wasn't it else?
And if it was up to me, and I was a code enforcer, the best way is to have some magnets, and when he's here, he can stick them on with like a flashing
He's
light.
got all the
He's got-
And a
magnets.
flashing light too.
No,
I
flashing
feel like
light.
you should have a flashing light.
He's got a
Orange
body
one.
cam,
An orange
he's got
one.
a.
Because most of the places that I go to, they turn it on, you know, that they actually work for the township, that it's not just like, somebody showing up. And then you go up there and you knock on the door and you just say, hey, this is what's going on, I wanna work with you and try not to.
And I've encouraged him to do that.
But, I mean, if
He
you're only
does,
able to
he
work.
does
some-
say that to people, I mean, a lot of people that come in, he does say, look, I wanna work with you, I wanna try to get this fixed.
But that's after a letter's sent though.
Yeah, I feel like the letter, it
It's
gives you off to that, so
it's
it's already like
initiating a
threatening you
bad
right away.
taste right off the get.
I think
You
it
know,
depends
like,
on how
what
he
is this
writes the
about?
letter,
You can't
that's
come
what I'm
talk to me
saying.
Like you said, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think it's all about how he writes the first letter. I really don't think he has a set letter. I think he does write the letter saying, it's been brought to my attention, or, I have been touring the township or whatever, and I noticed that this is in disarray or disrepair or whatever. I mean, I know he really tries to work with people, but
I think like what he's doing on his side is fine. I think if we had somebody else maybe one step forward to like take some of the pressure off and try to correct some of the stuff and work with him, take pictures, do
No,
some
see,
of the
that's gonna
legwork.
be a budget item, that's something I haven't budgeted for.
What do you mean? We already
Assistant-
budgeted for him, if he's only working for 40,
I know, but I
And he
budgeted the amount for 40. I mean, if,
For
you said
I
80, you said 80 a minute ago.
80. He had 40 last month.
Yeah, so
That's-
it's 40, it's
but
40.
he's get 20 hours a month, or a
No.
week, so.
Yes.
But
Well, I guess if
80.
this is something we wanna do, we need to know now then, I guess. I thought was still another 40 hours
No.
left.
Bill,
That's
you
just
asked
what
her
he-
how much he worked last month,
Yes.
she said 42 and a half.
And to me, that meant that he was
No.
already so busy at his other 3 jobs, that was about as much as he could do, so that's
No,
what I was
it's
saying.
because he was busy at his other jobs that he couldn't work the full 80 here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, that's hurting our township.
But
If-
that's
if-
not
if it
every month.
consistently, well, that's why I would like him to be here, because if he could do the 80, then, maybe we could figure something out, but if he can't, or whatever, I'd like somebody else to work the other.
I think
40.
he usually
Or even if we
does.
had to approve a little bit more and had somebody try to help him catch up, you know what I
Right.
mean? At
I
least get
think
him
he
caught
usually
up.
does, it's just last month he had, and I think he had some home issues also.
Because I mean, between having that many jobs and trying to do that, I mean, that is probably a lot, you know?
100%.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on the agenda,
Okay.
and I'll talk to him and see what him and I can work out prior to the meeting.
And I don't know if you wanna add something possibly to the budget and just to be on the safe side.
And it's been the same case even when Ryan Youngblood was here, him and I had many conversations, it was the same overwhelmed, buried and stuff, can't catch up thing, so, same thing.
Okay.
We'll try to
I'll
correct
talk
it.
with him, and then, I'll put it on the agenda.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Nina, you got anything?
No, I'm good.
I'm good too, I'll make a motion to adjourn at